it'll look a lot neater. So I'm just going to go over, very carefully go over my lines. With this nice black marker. This is one of the reasons why I was telling you guys that I really want you to get 2 black Sharpies at least. And it doesn't have to be Sharpie brand, but permanent markers if you would. Because then, even if you accidentally splash a little water on it or anything like that, and yes, I say water, I'm from Philly, if you splash water on it, it's not going to bleed or smear and ruin your paper. Okay. Alright. And see, it's okay if I don't go on the exact line because I'm going to erase all those pencil marks anyway. Once I'm done that, then I'm going to go back in, I'm going to add color. If you are someone that already draws anime style art, then you may have some really nice alcohol markers and, you know, Copic or whatever brand you happen to have. And in which case, I don't mind you if you use them. I personally am not, I don't have Copic markers. They're very expensive. So I haven't actually bitten the bullet and bought those because, like I said, they're really expensive. And I think what would wind up happening with them is my teenage daughter would take them because she loves drawing anime. The reason why Copic is so popular is because of how well they blend. Okay. Alright, I'm just doing these little rectangles for the teeth of the zipper. This part is where it sticks out a little bit more. Okay. So doing those teeth for the zipper. Okay. And now I'm going to go over this line here. I don't want to accidentally draw, you know, a line where I don't want it, because obviously now that I'm working in marker, I can't erase. Cannot erase any of these lines, so I have to be really careful. Okay. So remember, your checkpoint 1 is due Wednesday. Checkpoint 2 is not due until Friday. Okay, so Friday night, 11:59, that's when checkpoint 2 is due. Okay, so you do not have to rush through checkpoint 2. Take your time, draw nicely. You do not want to have to redo it, but if it's messy, you want to redo it. Okay, alright, now let's work on the face, eyebrows. Okay, eyebrow here. Alright, his eyes. Little line, little line. Okay, Give that little less than symbol. Alright, for his mouth. Okay, let me see if I'm missing anything. I don't think I'm missing anything. I think everything looks good as far as my outline is concerned. If ever you do find out, like, oops, I forgot to draw in, you know, part of the hair or something, and you go to erase and you notice that now you're missing part of it, it's okay, just draw it in afterwards. I was looking to see if I could find one of my bigger erasers, but apparently I can't, so looks like we're going to go through some pencil erasers. But, alright, so what I'm going to do is just go through here now, and now that I've already outlined it, now I can just erase all the stray marks. Okay, just going to go through, erase everything. It's going to make it look nice and neat. Okay. See how erasing does take a little bit of time, but it's worth it because then it's not going to look all dirty and messy. Okay. Especially you want to erase inside the face and inside the hair, because if you go to color over top of it with colored pencil, you'll notice that regular graphite from the pencil is going to smear and smudge and just make it look messy. See how it's already starting to look nicer. Careful about how much you erase though. If you erase too much, you might mess up the pile of the paper. So that's when you'll notice you'll start getting fuzzies and things like that, and you don't want to get that. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now I got to decide my coloring. I don't know. I was thinking maybe some, for the hair, I'm going to do some blue for the highlights, and it's going to be either a darker blue or a black towards the dark areas of the hair. So I think I'm going to go something like this for the highlights, and or maybe this. Let me see. If you don't know what colors you got, like if you don't know if it's what color you want, don't draw on your drawing. Don't, you know, you take another piece of paper. Test out your colors, okay? Is that the color I want? Or do I want this to be my color? This is the color I want. I like the way this looks better. So, I'm going to go for this color. So what I'm going to do is pretty much the parts that are going to be closest to the scalp are going to be dark. Okay. Also, the parts that are farther, you know, closer to the back of the head, those are going to be dark. Okay. So, this is the way I'm doing it. You can do it different if you want. This is the way I'm going to do it. So, like, this is going to get darker back here. Okay. The stuff up top is going to be a little bit lighter. And as it gets toward the center, it's going to get darker. Okay. So, I'm just going to do my basic spikes. Blue. Got to make sure your pencils are sharp. If they're not, you're going to wind up having the wood from your pencil will start to mess up your paper. I'm coloring quick. Don't color quick. Making mistakes like that is just, it's preventable, and it can mess up your whole artwork. Okay? And see, now when I go like this, now I made it smeared. I don't like that either, but that's alright. It's going to be covered up. But just be careful, because simple mistakes can be the difference between your paper, you know, being amazing, or your artwork being amazing, or, you know, it being average or mediocre. Okay, we should all strive for excellence. I'm going to do the same thing with these. And I mean, I'm not going to leave it. It's not going to be just black right here. I'm going to blend it. Okay? But I'm just trying to get it started. I wish I had my sharpener. Let's see if I do. I do not. I may have to pause this and continue it. Okay. I'm just going to add a little bit of light shading in here so that it'll blend a little bit easier. If you notice, I tend to color in the direction that the hair is going. Because remember, this is hair. These actually aren't solid spikes. They're hair, so they're individual strands. So even though anime doesn't usually draw the individual strands, if you color in the direction that the hair is going, it tends to look nicer. It doesn't look just colored in. It doesn't look messy. It gives it an interesting look to it. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading out here. Alright, so this. Most of this is going to be darker, so I'm going to add a little bit here. But most of that's going to be darker. Same thing with this. Oh, I did another one of my little boo-boos I hate. That's right. Oh, that was a bad one. I let my pencil just go. Alright. Okay, so I know it looks kind of crazy right now, and you'll probably go in and you'll add some of them here too. So that it's not completely, gives it a little bit of highlight. Okay, same thing here, give a little bit. Alright, so it gives us some color in there, right? I gotta get out my handy dandy. It's too close in color, I'm not gonna pick that one. Let's see. How about this one? These aren't dark enough. And it's purple. Looks like I'm probably going to have to go with some kind of black because my navy blues just aren't dark enough. Let me see if this dark purple is enough. No, not dark enough. Alright, so I know I'm being picky, but I'm not really happy with the choices that I have here. I think I'm just gonna go with black, and I'll blend it into the blue. Oops, I'm sorry about that. I'm getting... Apologize for that coming on. I had it paused for too long. Okay, so here's where you start to add in your shadows from the hair. So I don't want to go too dark too far in yet because I want it to blend. So I'm going to probably, you know, shade a little bit of blue over top of that so that it blends into it. So the whole point is to make it a smooth transition. We don't want it to look like he suddenly had a bunch of black paint put on top of his head. So, and since I can't find a blue that's dark enough, that's when going back and forth, I'm telling you, I wish I had my sharpener. Alright, let me see if there's a way. I'm going to pause the video real quick and then I'll be back with my sharpener. So we're not getting very much blending. So this is why you just definitely can't color really dark with the black, because it's not going to give you the desired look. Get this to blend into that. Any spot that was left white is really, really, really going to absorb that black. So I probably should have done this so that it wouldn't be so harsh. Because all that's going to be gone over with the black, but I don't want it to be so dark that it, you know, looks weird. And you run the risk of getting oversaturated too, where your paper will only accept so much color and then it just stops. So that's what I'm getting right here. You can still see the blue there, but you can't see the black over top. And that's because I colored so dark with the blue there that there's no space for it to accept the shading with the black. So for a little while there I was starting to not really like the way it was turning out, but I think I'm fixing it so that I like it a little bit better. I still want this top part to stand out more, so that's why I'm adding more black in here. And I'll probably go over it with a little bit of blue just to make sure it stays looking blue. But I'm starting to like it. That way you don't have all the white showing through of the paper. So it's completely saturated and in a good way, where you're getting the desired shade, the desired darkness, and the desired vibrant portions as well. Yeah, starting to like it. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this, okay? Making sure to, because I like the look of this better than maybe in here. So I'm going to make sure that I add my blue I want to make sure you guys can still see while I'm coloring. Sometimes I'll turn my paper, it just makes it feels more comfortable. Because like I said, I still want to go in the direction of the hair. I don't want it to start looking like Scribble Scrabble. Okay. If you've got, these are watercolor pencils, so I could actually go back in with a watercolor brush if I wanted to, add a little bit of water to it, and it'll blend some more, but I'm not doing that right now, because honestly, this is just so, because I like these color pencils better than some of my other ones, so that's why I use these. I've got more color options and things. But okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of color down here. I'm still going to go over top of this stuff with black, so it just has to be nice and light. Alright, so now for the shading on this side. Okay, there's going to be some shading here. And right here. So this is why I give you guys the same amount of time for the coloring and texturing of your anime portrait as I do the drawing itself, because if you might think that, oh well, once you have it drawn all you have to do is color it in, but we're not coloring it in like a coloring page, right? You're trying to create areas of depth, so areas that are going to seem deeper or in shadow as opposed to other areas. So it's not going to be straightforward just coloring it one color. So that's why I give you more time to really get it to look nice. Okay? I don't want to see, I don't want it to look like you just, colored it in. That won't look as nice. We're trying to challenge ourselves a little bit to do a little bit more than we did in 6th grade. Okay, I'm still going to go over all this with my blue again, because that's going to help it look nice. Sorry about the phone ringing in the background. I don't really want to get up and... I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to stop this video. Okay, so now I'm going to go over top of this with some blue. Again, I apologize about the phone in the background. But go over top of this with blue, and that's going to help it give it more of a three-dimensional quality. Because now it's not just black and then blue, it's got that almost like you're adding a darker shade of blue, because the black and the blue combine for all the shadows. Okay. And we're going to do the same type of thing with the skin color. We're going to do the same type of thing with the clothing. You're going to want to add in shadows. You don't want this just to be a coloring page, okay? That's not the look we're going for, okay? And do some anime just, color splotch in their artwork? Yeah. but that wouldn't be very challenging, would it? So for our purposes, we want to make it look more three-dimensional. So now you can see it's starting to make it look like the hair is actually popping out away from the scalp. Okay? And that just makes it more dynamic. So if you see this from far away, it's really going to look like it's popping, and that's what we want. Really saturate it with color by adding layers. You can do the same thing, like if you decide you wanted two-tone hair, like if you wanted them to have kind of like an ombre where it goes from one color into another, you can do that too. I did that with the other example that I put up on your Canvas page, okay, where I had it change from one color into another. That's the kind of dynamic thing I want you to kind of play around with and try. It makes things look more visually interesting. Okay. All right. A little bit of more blue down in here for the shadows over here. And then we'll be ready to get to the skin color and things like that. I'm actually going to have his eyebrows just be black. Because maybe my character has black hair naturally and he just dyed it blue. So remember, this is your own original character, so even if it's inspired by another character, I don't want yours inspired by Bakugo and it has blonde hair. Make sure you're kind of pushing the envelope and trying more and doing more with yours. Okay, so now I'm going to go with skin colors. So I've got my little test sheet here, and I'm going to pick up this one because I think this is a good skin color. Hold on, this one might be better. Alright, let's test. We got this one. Okay, and I've got this one. Well, that one's a little too orange. I don't really want the orange one, so I'm going to go with this one. And then I need a darker shade to go with it. Let's see. I think that'll work. I think that'll work for shadows. All right. So this is my dark one. This is my light one. I'm going to start off light. It's easier to start light and you can add in your shadows. You start dark, you might go dark in too many spots and then you can't get back. Okay? So very lightly I'm going to shade. Notice I'm not saying really color because I'm shading. Okay, I'm going to shade in most of the skin color. I'm not going to forget about in here. That's going to get shaded into. It's probably going to be mostly dark once I go back in with my dark color. But my dark color is really kind of pinky, so that's why I'm really going with this peach first. And it's a little bit muddy looking, which means there's still some graphite on the paper where I thought I erased it. But you can see spots where his face kind of looks dirty now, and that's because I didn't get all the graphite off first, and that's that mistake I warned you guys about. It very easily happens. Okay. And graphite is just a fancy word for pencil, regular pencil. So that would be, some people call it lead, but it's no longer made of lead. It's made with graphite is the name of the actual thing that pencil lead is made up of. Alright. So I'm just going to color this. Well, now I said color. I'm shading it in. I'm going to shade in the neck. You can if you want.
Okay. I'm bored. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bored, but I'm more procrastinating because I don't want to do my one project.
But if I get you next semester, you'll have to do it again.
Can I turn another one?
Nope. Okay, so anyway. Now I'm going to start adding in those shadows, okay? So I'm going to look at it and kind of decide, okay, well, where's my light source? The hair is kind of just general peaks and valleys. So I'm going to say, we're going to pretend, oh, look at that smear. That's not good. Look at that. Oh, gosh. You got to be really careful. Kind of blow the extra dust off of your drawing, because see, now I've got that habit, really bad habit, of brushing it away, and as you can see, I tend to make a mess. So just be careful and don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. Alright, well, it's kind of a mess, but it's okay. Alright, so now I'm going to take in my shading. I'm just going to add this little line here. Okay. I'm going to pretend that my light source is coming from over here. Okay. So since my light source is coming from over here, then this side of the face is going to have more shadows to it. This ear is probably going to be pretty dark. If I have to go back in with the peach color over top of it, or maybe even like some browns or something to make it look like a shadow, I will. Because I don't want it to look like he's got like some kind of weird rash on his face. That would not be good. Okay. I'm going to put this down like this, so almost like it's the shadow that's created on his face by his hair. Since he's got pointy hair and it's pretty puffy, it might stick out a little bit further from the face, right? So, since the light source is coming from over here, there's going to be a shadow here, but there's not going to be here because that's where the light's going to hit it. So you got to be careful. This is going to be from this one here, and then that's that. Okay, maybe there's a shadow here around his eye a little bit. Remember, don't go so dark that you can't blend. You want to be able to blend some of it. Okay, we're going to just put a little bit of shading in here. Maybe some shading under his eye. I want this whole side to be just a little bit darker. And definitely darker on the other side of his nose, right? Because that's, you know, it's going to create a little shadow of its own. Alright. Starting to get some three-dimensional quality to it. Alright, so now, another thing that you're going to have a shadow on. Think about it. The head creates a shadow on the neck. Okay, sorry about the phone again. I'm popular today. Alright, so I'm going to create the shadow on the neck. Okay, but again, it's still going to get blended because I do not want it to just look like some weird red mark. So it's still going to have a little bit of blending to it where it kind of fades into the rest of it. Okay, but this side of the neck is also going to be a little bit darker. Okay, and maybe there's a little bit of shadow created by the jacket. right? Alright, I'm going to go back in, sharpen my pencil, and I'm going to go back in, add a little bit of more peach on top of this stuff so that it doesn't look so different. So it blends it in a little bit. Also, depending on like what emotion you're trying to have your character show, their face might be like a little flushed or something, especially if they're like really angry looking. So the pinkness of the colors that I chose has kind of added to how frustrated my guy looks. So I'm kind of liking that effect that it had. Alright. Okay. Voila. So now the skin color is done. So I am going to color in the eyes itself, because those are just going to be black. Okay. Now I can kind of mess around with this and make it whatever color I want. So since that's the case, I'm going to go with kind of an orange and then a darker orangey red for my shading on it. Let's see. Nope, that's too close to the skin color. I might actually have to go with different colors. Let me go with purple. We'll go with purple. Let's see, that's blue. We don't want to do blue. Let's do this color. I think this is a nice dark purple. Let's see how that is. Is that too close? Is it dark enough? Let me see if I've got darker ones. I believe I do. Yes, perfect. All right. So I'm actually going to use 3 colors. Okay. These 3 colors together are going to make it blend real nice. Notice when I'm going to start, I tend to sharpen up the pencils and get them so that they have a nice point on them. So this is going to be my light purple for my really highlighted areas. I believe this is my medium. Yep, that's my medium. See how it blends really nicely into it? And then this is going to be my dark. Oops, I broke my pencil already. Oh my goodness. It'd be helpful if I could sharpen my pencil. The beauty of these pencils is that they're nice and soft lead. The bad part is that they're soft lead. Because if they're soft lead, they tend to break easier too. Alright, so see how they blend really nicely together? That's what I'm going to make his outfit out of. Alright, so since these lines are just going to be texture in mine, it's not stripes. The only stripe is this right here, which I'm going to leave white. Everything else is going to have color to it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my light, and remember the way I tend to do it is I add the light color to everything, because even the highlights of his shirt are still going to have a twinge of this purple color. Okay, I hope I'm not making my Deku friends cringe, people that like Deku, because I know he doesn't wear purple. I know, but this is not Deku. So, because his hair's the wrong color anyway, so let's see. Okay, just a little bit so that I don't forget to keep that spot white. And notice how with this I'm going straight across, because if I go straight across, it's going to help flatten out this area, which we want it to be a little bit flatter across his chest. We don't want it to stick out and look strange. So I'm going all in the same direction when I color this, and I'm going straight across. Okay, when I come up to here, I'll just kind of curve it up to it, but for the most part, just going straight across to add that color in. I'm also going to add a little bit of color in here. Alright, so now I'm going to go with my next one, which I got to remind myself which one was my dark and which one's, okay, I think that's medium. That's, oh nope, see, I got it wrong. So this is my medium, so I'm going to go with this one next. So I'm going to start adding in a little bit of my medium color. I'm not going all the way up to the top. Sorry about the phone again. Can you go answer that and let her know what's going on?
Hello.
Okay, and then
She's recording something for school.
okay, so this is my medium.
Bye.
Okay, and so thank you to my assistant. Okay. There. See how it's already starting to get that three-dimensional quality? That's what we're looking for. Okay. I'm not going to do the medium back here. The light. This is going to stay light over here. This is actually going to get pretty dark over here. But I'll do the medium up to the line here. Okay, so that it's, and I'll let it fade into the light color. And the way you do that is by you push down a little bit harder where you want it to be darker, and then you slowly stop, like you slowly let up a little bit. You don't push down quite as hard. So that's how you get it to blend into the lighter color. Okay, so dark here, I'm going to push down hard, and then as I pull away from there, I'm going to not push down quite as hard. Okay, just slowly like lighten your pressure up just a little bit. And that's what helps with the shading. That's what helps make it look three-dimensional. Okay, so I'm doing the medium in here. I'm going to do the medium right here, right against where the zipper is. Okay, and again, it's really dark against it, and then it gets lighter as it gets farther away. Alright, it's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to go in with the dark. Okay, my dark is going to be pretty much right up against his neck. You want that to be nice and dark. And then bring it out just a little bit so that it's not just a dark line. We want it to look like shading. Okay, so same thing over here. It's going to be dark, and it's going to come out. Okay. I'm even going to add a little bit of a dark line on each of these little ridges. Because that's going to help make it look more three-dimensional as well. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here. And then bring it away. Remember I said this one's going to be dark over here. Okay, same thing. Because this is the dark side, so I'm going to make my shadow from the shirt nice and dark over here. Now, obviously, if there's a white spot and there's going to be a shadow, then that's going to need to be a little bit gray. So I'm just going to shade that in a little bit. So now that looks like a shadow. Okay, you can even do that a little bit over here with the white line if you're going to do anything with that kind of pattern on it. And I am going to add a little bit of my medium over here. And a little bit over here. And I really like the way it looks, so I think that's pretty much it. The only thing left to do is if you want to sign your work. I tend to always sign mine by the shoulder, so I'm going to sign it right here. And I'll always put the year. You can do that if you want. You don't have to. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.